This event is really to commemorate a terrible tragedy 15 years ago, and that was the terrible and cruel attacks on the United States on 9/11. But Marcus Robinson, the filmmaker, what he's done is take from this terrible tragedy and made a film about the rebuilding of the World Trade Center. And in essence, what he's shown is that out of tragedy can come hope. And the resilience, it really celebrates the resilience of the construction workers and all the persons involved in the rebuilding of the World Trade Center. I remember quite vividly when it happened on 9/11/2001. I was in our Foreign Service Institute, so that's essentially a training institute for diplomats. And I was in a class learning Danish for a future assignment in Denmark. And at that point in time, someone came into our classroom and gave us the news that the first tower had been hit. And of course, when the second tower was hit, everyone knew that this was not an accident. And we were asked to evacuate that campus. And as we did, we could see already smoke billowing from the Pentagon, which was not that far from the Foreign Service Institute. So I arrived in Belfast last summer, and I know from colleagues and from my predecessors that there was a tremendous outpouring of sympathy and solidarity from Northern Ireland. In fact, our old consulate, people will remember, was on Queen Street. And my understanding is people came forward and blanketed the front of that US Consulate building with flowers. And it does speak to the strong, broad, and long-standing ties between the United States and this region. Our Consulate General in Belfast is the second oldest continuous running US Consulate anywhere in the world. And those ties are remarkably strong in good times and in difficult times as well.
It is a significant event and it's a great privilege for us to host the film this evening out of such a great tragedy. And perhaps Northern Ireland has a great empathy, perhaps more so than other parts of the world, with the American people after this tragedy that made world headlines. Yes, I vividly recall where I was and who I was talking with. And I don't think I think that goes for the vast majority of people, not just in Northern Ireland, but indeed internationally. It was such a significant event, an event that when you heard a plane had crashed into, you just couldn't conceive. And then when you heard a second one had happened, that indeed that such an event would be organised, such an event of terrorism. And I suppose in Northern Ireland we perhaps know more about the effects and the impacts of terrorism. But I suppose what we should be saying is that out of that tragedy has grown an awful lot of hope